countess. Who?
I'm literally miserable.
We're not friends.
Friends.
Joggers. Excuse me?
Who said that? Who said that?
Hello and welcome everybody to the Real Housewives Edit. My name is Elle and I'm here to talk about the two loves of my life, editing and housewives. Today I'm going to be talking about the most recent episode of Beverly Hills, where the ladies all take a trip to help Dorit clear her mind. The scene I want to focus on today is the scene where they're sitting on the beach and they're eating like a breakfast brunch. I just want to focus on a few moments in this brunch that I thought were very interesting from an editing standpoint. And I also want to talk about this concept of a bad edit. The concept of a bad edit is something that you hear a lot of housewives and honestly a lot of reality stars talk about, which is, oh, this season I got a bad edit, or oh, this season I got the villain edit, so they made me look bad. I have very, very strong opinions when it comes to this phrase, a bad edit, and I'm going to expand on my feelings in a couple of minutes when I get to those parts in the scene. Right now, let's just get right into watching.
Bathing suit was one piece.
No.
She's cute.
What do you know?
I mean, if you're gonna be on the beach surfing.
I'm not surfing.
Okay, so that's just a tiny little clip of Sutton with her Glam team, which are two lovely, young, I'm sure very talented, amazing people who are literally just sitting on a couch telling Sutton not to wear a one piece. Now, I'm sure they did much more than that. I'm not trying to bag on the Glam team. From an editorial standpoint, I thought it was interesting that that was the moment that they chose when they said Sutton's Glam team. Especially in Erika in the past, we've seen Glam teams sort of like be putting together these looks like a Mikey, right? Like, oh, like naming the outfits and like the makeup's going on and all this stuff and the hair is matching and all this stuff. But they chose that, and then to have the Chiron say, you know, Sutton's Glam team, and they're literally just telling her not to wear a one piece. I thought that was interesting and kind of telling. Let me put it this way. It felt very Sutton.
You can downsize, and we've downsized, right? Certain things you don't downsize on, and that's your glam. Fashion, hair, makeup. To me, it's art, living art, and I enjoy that. And it shouldn't be judged any other way. Nobody judges if people want to have big families. I want to buy a bunch of clothes.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. So, where do we start? Okay, so first of all, now here's a glam squad, right? We have people taking notes, we have a whole spread of makeup, we have all the outfits out. Do I think glam is a little bit like, wow, a lot to take on a trip? Of course, we all do, but that's why we watch these shows, because it's a lot. But this is where I'm gonna start getting into this idea of a bad edit. Again, a lot of people who are on reality TV tend to say, oh, I got a bad edit this season. The editors made me look bad. There's so many reasons why I take umbrage with this phrase specifically. As an editor, you can't put words into someone's mouth. Through editing and through After Effects and through any sort of editing techniques, you cannot make a character, such as Erika, say something like, we've downsized, right? As she looks around her probably $2 to $3 million house. And then to go into, I like to buy a lot of clothes, I don't downsize on glam. Okay, so we're all kind of clear that this is a bit problematic considering the optics of what's gone on in the situation, what she has been allegedly connected to, whether she knew about it or not. Like, I'm not here to speculate on that at all, but all we know are that there were some major victims in this whole scenario with her ex-husband, Tom, and how there are widows and orphans who allegedly were not paid their settlements, and how they're going after Erika for the money. The best optics would be for her to not necessarily be talking about anything financial or, you know, showing extraneous expenses. Let's put it that way. She says this phrase, you know, I've downsized, which we're all like, okay. And then she says, you know, the one thing I'm not going to downsize on is glam. The editors did not create those words and put them in her mouth. Those are her words alone. Now, what editing can do is you can remove things to make sentences seem a certain way, but you can't add things into someone's mouth. And what I see a lot of times when reality stars are complaining about a bad edit is that entire season, it wasn't about kind of what they didn't say or how things were skewed. It's much more about the full sentences that came out of their mouth. That is what we as an audience are looking at and going like, you're really not a good person, are you? The fact that the editors left it in, yes, maybe that's giving you your bad edit, but you're the one who said it. The editors aren't looking to take out juicy stuff or take out stuff that's going to reveal your character, because that's kind of what makes good TV. So if you said it, okay, I have more on that a little bit later, but this is just the start.
I don't even want to pay for my own hotel room. I'm not trying to pay for other people's and their flights and their food and paying them. I can just put on some lip gloss and I'm good. I would just never travel with Glam. Why spend the money? It's ridiculous.
Okay, I think it's just interesting in general about Crystal that I've seen a couple moments this season where she's kind of played like, I'm one of you. It seems like maybe she's forgotten that she did have an entire first season. It's very clear that, you know, she has a lot of money. She's not one of us.
The bag over there is very distracting. I cannot even.
I had it on display just for you.
Stop
Are you dead?
the madness.
She is kind of into society stuff and who people are. I'm not trying to say anything bad about her, but just from an editing standpoint, it's interesting that they leave in these moments where she's like, I'm just like normal. All right, let's keep watching.
Really
Doesn't bother me.
bad for my skin.
You know, I do like an hour of sun and then I'm done.
Well, I figured if I'm gonna be surfing, that's gonna be my hour.
I always think it's funny when they leave in kind of little small talk, and this is, again, from an editing point of view, they really don't need to do this. I doubt that they're needing to fill up time. I know there's definitely some episodes, many cities where they use a lot of filler, especially bad seasons, but I'm always curious why they leave in little small talk moments like this, like Crystal and Sutton talking about an hour of sun. When I was listening to that, I was like, this is my personal hell. Talking about these types of little things to people that I barely know, who I actually kind of don't like, because let's be honest, like Sutton, Crystal, I'm not seeing the relationship there. I don't know, but I feel like the editors leave that stuff in there just to be like, they don't like each other. That's what I got from it. Okay, let's keep watching.
Thank the good Lord I'm crazy.
There she is.
Hi, Dorit.
The hostess with not the mostest.
Me, I said that. How are you? How'd your...
Okay, so we're gonna talk again just briefly about Erika. I have nothing against Erika. She's definitely not, I would say, like my favorite housewife, but it's interesting these moments that they leave in. So here we have this moment where Dorit is walking up and everyone's like, oh my God, hey, woman of the hour, whatever. Now, she's just gone through this terrible trauma. She's obviously having a lot of, I would assume, PTSD type of symptoms, you know, from the experience that she had. I can't even imagine how that must feel for her. So she says, it's the hostess with the not mostest. Basically like a little self-deprecating, like, just like, I'm going through it. Sorry, I'm late. You know, it's that type of vibe. They leave in this little part where Erika says, me, I said that. They didn't need to leave that in. They didn't. When I see those moments where there's something left in that just didn't need to be left in, I'm like, why? Here we go again with the villain edit or the bad edit. I'm not saying that's something terrible that she said or did. It's like what kids do, like when they're being annoying, like, oh, me, like, look at me, or I said that. She has a self-centered quality that we'll get into further that she is very open about. I'm not calling her that. She's very like, it's me, Erika Jayne, I'm this. Dorit's had a really rough go of it lately, and she just says this little thing, and instead of just being like, oh girl, you're fine, she has to point out that she said that before. Maybe I read this wrong. You guys tell me in the comments if you feel like I'm on track with that. It just felt like kind of bratty to me, and funny that the editors left it in. Let's keep going.
I did not sleep.
Dorit, what are we going to do with you?
I'm never on my own right now. Certainly not going to sleep, and I can try to relax myself, and I can't get there. Like hyperventilating.
I feel sorry.
Beyond, I'm shocked.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about this for a minute. So Garcelle says something so sweet, which is like, just feels very authentic to me. Like, oh my gosh, Dorit, what are we gonna do with you, right? Because she's not sleeping. She's gone through this terrible event. And Dorit is talking about these feelings that she's having. You know, I'm not sleeping, I'm hyperventilating. Like, she's really like breaking it down. They have, I think there's like 3 angles that I can think off the top of my head, which means they have 3 cameras. I'm assuming, I've never been on the set of a Housewives thing. I will eventually, one of these days, my dreams will come true. They could have used any of those 3 angles to show Dorit talking about what she's talking about. Of course, this is the angle that has the most Dorit in it, so it makes the most sense to have it on there. However, they have Sutton in the foreground, meaning in front of Dorit, and they actually pull focus on Sutton a little bit. Pull focus meaning that Dorit goes a little bit out of focus and Sutton goes into focus even as Dorit is talking about this stuff. And the reason that they do that, in my opinion, and why the editors chose that angle for that part, is because Sutton is, again, totally blowing off Dorit's feelings and what she's going through. Now, if you can remember in previous episodes, Sutton's been like, you know, the reason why I said those things to Kyle, which were so insensitive, you guys know what I'm talking about.
I was on the phone with PK, who was bawling.
I've been putting out fires all day today too, but it might just be that kind of day.
What fires are you putting out?
Oh gosh, you know, I've got this French designer that I'm bringing in, immigration is, listen.
That doesn't seem like a fire after what?
Well, it is for me and my business and what I'm trying to do. And
I know, but I was expecting you to say something more like...
No, and well, Waylon, I couldn't find him. Well, these are, you know, it's all relative.
I know.
I mean, I wasn't held at gunpoint, I'm sorry.
She's saying that she has her own issues to deal with when it comes to traumatic events. That actually made perfect sense to me, and I understand that. But this moment right here, I feel like she's, again, showing her hand. Dorit's talking about this stuff. She's kind of like opening up to the group early morning. She's had a bad night. She hasn't been able to sleep on the trip that she presumably took them to, which we all know that probably Bravo pays for these trips, but still, it's like Dorit's trip. And she's talking, and Sutton is like playing with some food. They could have even punched in on Dorit. They could have gone a little bit closer on Dorit as she's saying this, but instead, they kept Sutton in the foreground. It's just one more clue that Sutton is just not interested.
I have teetered with the idea of going back home. Oh, this looks so good. I took a lot of conversations with PK to help get back to a place where I could get through this trip and feel safe.
It's just like, it feels like Sutton's doing it on purpose. Now, we've all been in moments before where someone's been having a conversation, especially across a table, and you're in a conversation with someone else, and you're trying to pay attention to them, especially if it's kind of important, and but you're here, and you're like, I gotta finish this one. Like, it doesn't feel like that. It literally feels like Sutton's trying to ignore Dorit, like she's looking for a reason to have a conversation outside of hearing this. I'm not saying that Sutton is like arrogant, but there's an arrogance too when people are just like, okay, like we get it, get over it. But then they want all of the utmost care and compassion when it comes to the issues that they're dealing with.
Being told that I was a ridiculous person wasn't the nicest thing.
I'm sorry.
Nice apology.
This whole moment to me just felt so self-centered, and the editors cut it all in to illuminate the truth that was going on in that scene. So let's keep going.
Last year, I was waking up like with this hopeless feeling. Every day I woke up and I dreaded waking up. So I called a psychiatrist and I went on Lexapro. There's a lot of sadness still here, but there is happiness in the form of having some fun with some friends, having some sex.
Okay, so let's talk about this moment where she says there is some happiness. You know, she's talking about her struggles with feeling hopeless and antidepressants and all that stuff. And then she says there is some fun, having some fun with some friends and having some relations with men. I'm just gonna say it. I don't think the editors like Erika. I do not think that this has anything to do with the way that they edit her or what kind of bad edit, villain edit they give her. Like I've told you guys in the very first episode of this entire channel, editors see everything. They see the dailies, they see when the camera goes down or when the people on screen think the camera is down. They see the little moments in between. They see the little tiny like, oh wait, can we do that again? You know, probably in the confessionals. And you can tell so much about a person by those little moments in between of them being on. I would love to see those dailies. I could be totally wrong, this is just my opinion. But like when she says, you know, I'm having some fun with some friends, having some relations, they do this sort of sound.
Having some sex.
Kind of a record scratch, like almost like we don't want to hear that. Just doesn't feel like celebratory at all with her. Picture maybe like a Heather on Salt Lake City. Feels like everyone loves Heather. If Heather was getting back into the game of being happy and stuff like that, and she would say, you know, I'm just having fun with friends and I'm going out with some guys, I just don't think they'd give her that sound effect. It gives you a feeling of like, ugh. Like, okay. When that's not a bad thing at all. There's nothing wrong with, you know, she's been in this relationship with this much older guy for a long time. It's great for her to be going out and doing all this stuff. But I guess it just, again, optics for what's going on in her life. This takes me back to the bad edit thing. All of the things that are giving Erika sort of like a villainous feeling or sort of a bad taste in our viewer's mouth is not coming from cutting out words. You can absolutely cut out words. So like for instance, if I said like, I hate seeing someone hurt my friends, I could actually cut that sentence to sound like this. I hate my friends. You can cut things out to make certain sentences, but for the most part, what I see with Erika is they just let that camera run.
Would we be able to know if you didn't take them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. If you think I'm irritable now, I was really mean.
Okay, real quick. She says, I was really mean, and then they go to Kyle sort of doing that thing like, It's just that look, again, that the editors left in. Was that the reason, or was it just your personality? Okay.
Oh, honey, they called me a bully in court filing today. Do you think I give a
They did?
I wear that like a badge of honor. They told me that I was along the lines of my husband, and I use his tactics of bullies, threatening, and all those other and I said, I'll take it. I've been called worse. Women are supposed to be.
Okay, you guys, let's talk about this. Again, with the villain bad edit. A lot of times you can mess with audio if you cut to others. Say she was talking and then they cut to a close-up of Lisa Rinna listening. It would be like, oh, were they actually messing with the audio of what she was saying underneath that? But no. They just let that camera run. It just feels like she's blind to what everyone is saying or what the actual allegations are. She has so clearly not found any humility from this experience, and they're showing it. No editing, no cutaways required. Let's keep going.
Women are supposed to be polite, quiet, sweet, and agreeable until you get your ass handed to you, and then what are you supposed to take it? Like lying down? No, you have to fight for yourself because no one else is going to, and if that makes you a bully, then so be it.
Just a side note, I don't think anyone's calling her a bully because she's fighting back for her own truth. That's just
My friend Jeff was staying with me. So we were like, well, maybe we should take the LSAT.
I'm learning all the tricks.
Let me tell you something. Yep. Tom made a perfect score on one of the pieces of the bar and used to grade the bar.
Tom Girardi grading the bar. That can't be good. That can't be good.
I will help you tutor. Okay?
Wow, how about that?
I know some tricks, bitch.
Okay, wow. So that moment cracked me up when they go to Garcelle and she's like, that just can't be good that he was grading the bar. Also, the little reactions from Dorit looking at Sutton. Those are such relatable moments to me, and I'm so glad they left them in. I didn't find them mean. I found them very like, wow, like he used to grade the bar? Great, our legal system's in good hands. Here Erika goes saying, I can tutor you for the bar. And then she says, I know some things.
I know some tricks, bitch.
I don't know if she's forgetting, but just a season ago, her whole thing was, I don't know anything about this stuff. Tom used to just slide papers in front of me and I would just sign them. I don't know anything about, lawyering. I'm not a lawyer.
I'm not privy to any of that.
Oh. That's good.
It's actually very good.
Yeah. It keeps you away from it.
Well, it's not my business. It's
Right.
not my law firm. I'm not a lawyer.
She can say that they cut out, moments maybe she will after this season, like, oh, they cut out all my good moments. But there's plenty of moments of her being a nice friend. I actually think she's probably a really good friend. But it's those moments of vulnerability for things that we all feel like maybe there should be some learning going on here. And where instead it's just, I'm a bully, I can help you pass the bar because I know some things. Whew. Okay, let's keep going.
I know some tricks, bitch.
Can you imagine her helping Sutton take the bar?
Lisa, how are you feeling this morning?
And I love how the ladies are just like, ha ha ha, this is so funny because Erika and Sutton have a bad relationship, so wouldn't that be funny if she was teaching her? It's like, no, how about, isn't it funny that Erika's now saying she knows so much about the law that she can help someone pass the bar?
These beautiful paintings on the wall that we've been looking at for 2 days. What's in the paintings?
Birds.
Birds.
Oh.
Okay, that moment to me is so funny. I laughed so hard. Rest in peace, Lois. You are amazing. We thank you for your service on this show. Rinna, I feel for you. But that moment in there when, when Lisa says, well, we're staring at these paintings for the few days, and then what do you think the paintings are? And then Garcelle answers the obvious answer, which is birds. What was so funny from an editorial standpoint is they just hung the camera on her that whole speech, like, and what do you think was on that painting? And Garcelle's just kind of staring at her, and then she's like, birds. Sometimes the length of the edit of a certain video clip can cause comedy, you know, sadness. It can cause emotion just by the length of the clip that you leave on, and that's a great example of it right there.
Now than I did.
We all have an idea of what grief is supposed to look like and what you're supposed to go through, and that all goes out the window when you're actually going through it yourself. And I'm trying to be honest and open about it and share everything with everyone and just be like, you know what? I'm having a bad day. Or, you know what? I'm actually having a good day, and that's okay.
Okay, I don't even know if this is from an editorial standpoint, but just a side note. First of all, Lisa Rinna looks absolutely gorgeous in this confessional. Like, how she looks like the most gorgeous I've ever seen her. That's just, I'm gonna start there. But it's just so funny how she's like, I'm just trying to be open and honest how I feel about the situation and, you know, the loss and all this stuff. It's just her trying to convince us, like, I'm open, I'm honest, I show you guys my life. There are so many things that we want to know about Lisa, and this is why you remain on this show and are, in my opinion, a fantastic housewife. Not because you stir the pot, not because you look gorgeous as you do in your confessional, not because you're daughters, not because of Harry Hamlin's sauce, but because there is a whole world under there that we haven't explored. She's truly trying to tell us, you know, this is big, I'm really showing my life, but I'm not buying it. And I'm looking forward to the seasons in the future where Rinna actually cracks open the egg and we get to see a little bit more of the true stuff that's going on underneath. Well, guys, that's it for this episode today. Thank you again so much for watching. Please subscribe to this channel. I promise you I have so much more for you coming ahead. Until next time. Birds.